Joshua, do you take this ring as a symbol of Anna's love and devotion and a sign of her loyalty and abiding love?
I do. The loyalty song is actually meant to teach young children the character quality of loyalty. And that's where I really felt like that song really displayed my emotions and my feelings for Anna. And I thought, what a special way to emphasize that.
I'll do my best to be faithful and true through the hardest of days.
Hey guys, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It is Wednesday, July 21st, and I am going to talk about the Duggars. Now, if you are Anna Duggar and you had a husband that was facing up to 40 years, where do you think you would be right now in this moment of time? Would you be with your children trying to find a safe place to live and preparing for your life without a husband? Or would you be doubling down and spending all of your time with your husband, spending almost every night with him, and also pretending like your husband was set up? If you think that it was the second option, that's kind of what Anna Duggar is doing, according to a source I spoke to. Let's unpack this. In May, Josh Duggar had a bond hearing. In the bond hearing, it was determined that Josh would be able to stay at the house of LeCount and Maria Reber. LeCount and Maria Reber are family friends of the Duggars, and they were actually at Jedediah's wedding, okay? So Jedediah and them were all there together, and then they decide that Josh is going to move in with them, basically because they're one of the very few friends that the Duggars have that do not have any minor children. They also live in the country, and their house does not have Wi-Fi, and one of the stipulations of Josh's release and staying with there is that he cannot have access to the internet, he cannot have access to passwords, he cannot use the internet, not use a phone, nothing. So another stipulation of this was that Josh Duggar cannot be around any minor children except for his children, and that Anna Duggar could bring the kids around and visit as much as she wanted with her children while he was staying with the Rebers. LeCount and Maria Reber were basically like all about that God was leading them to do this. And they described that they had sort of like a mother-in-law suite where there was like their own little space for Josh that he would live with. So he wouldn't be like necessarily in the main house. He would just sort of have his own room and bathroom and space away from them. And so because of that, you know, he could kind of like live in his own tiny little apartment, and that she had some concerns about being there by herself with Josh. But, you know, overall, she felt like God was leading her to this. So the house that they're living in is not massive by any means. Like the Sun says, it's a mansion. No, it's like 2,400 square feet, nothing major. So they have like a bedroom that Josh is staying in. And one would have thought that Anna, given that she is the mother and she has 6 kids of her own to take care of and a husband that's facing a lot of time in prison, would be using this time to potentially, you know, get herself prepared for life without Josh. But instead, it sounds like Anna is spending almost all of her time at the third-party custodian's house, and he's almost always with Josh. So here is what I've learned. I was told from a source that Anna spends almost every single night with Josh. Now, I asked where the kids were. They did not answer. So I'm not sure if she's got the kids with her or not. I do not know if the kids are with her. I don't know if the kids are staying back at the Duggars' house. I don't know if they're staying in that converted warehouse that they turned into like an apartment, or if she has all of them in this one bedroom with Josh while she stays over there. Anna's pregnant, so I can understand in some respects she probably doesn't want to be alone. She doesn't want to be by herself. She probably wants to be with her husband as much as possible. She's also the mother of 6 kids, so that also makes me wonder if she's devoting all of her time and resources to her husband at this time and spending almost every night with him while he faces this massive trial. What kind of resources is she putting into her children, and what kind of life are her children living right now? So back in June, we saw that Marcus was down in Texas, and then there was some questions about where the other kids are. Now, there was this video that Joanna had put out, and Michelle looked extremely frazzled, and it felt like Michelle was kind of like pulled in all these different directions. And so I was starting to wonder if maybe Michelle has had to take on the care of some of the kids, meaning Josh's children, because Anna is maybe overextended and needs help. So if Anna is constantly over at the Reber's house, I don't know how physically they could have 6 kids staying in that same home with them during that time. Josh was allowed to be with his kids as long as he was supervised and as long as Anna was with him. Theoretically, I think that would mean if Anna's there and she wanted to sleep over there with the kids, they probably could do that. I, in my mind, had no idea that this is what the situation would be. I didn't for a second think that the Rebers would co-sign to allowing Anna to spend the night. I didn't for a second consider that Anna would actually consider spending the night every single night, uprooting her family and basically moving her kids with her to this house. So the last time we heard about Anna, there was this source that basically said that she was on the outs with the Duggars. If you remember back in June during Father's Day, they had this event and everyone was like, oh my gosh, where's Anna? I don't see Anna. Anna's not there. So people were like, oh, is she still staying at the warehouse? Well, people said, rumors were circulating that she still lives there. So just because she stays most nights with Josh doesn't mean she's living with Josh at the Reber's house. But it makes me wonder, is Anna, while she's living there or effectively staying with Josh, is she still serving and catering to his every single need? So while Josh is supposed to be in sort of a home confinement situation, is his dutiful wife still being joyfully available whenever he wants it, cooking and cleaning and taking care of him and making sure that he has all of his things and taking care of him like the king that she thinks he is? Is she seriously putting her life on hold and putting her children's life on hold and literally spending all of her time with him over at this place because that's what she has been trained and told to do? That the idea of that makes me feel really uncomfortable. But I guess, what do you expect? It's Anna Duggar. So apparently Anna is spending almost all of her time over at this house, spending nearly every night, and no one could tell me if the kids were staying there too. We know that Marcus was down in Texas and he was staying with the Wallers for a while, and we also know that Michael and David were over in Arkansas to help a hurting loved one. And I wonder if some of the kids are staying with family and not necessarily staying with Anna. If the kids are with Anna, I would guess she might have the 3 littlest ones with her and maybe the 3 oldest are with someone else. Could CPS be involved and some of the kids are with other relatives to keep them safe during this time? Because they haven't said anything and because we have zero idea of the situation and CPS obviously doesn't make those investigations public, we don't know. The only thing that we do know is if there is CPS involvement, there was this specific stipulation in Josh's pretrial hearing stuff that basically said that if children were going to be talked about in court and it was his own children, like say an advocate for his kids came into court, that would not be closed. They said only if it would be like a non-relative. So his kids, if someone testifies to his children in his trial, that would not specifically be closed to the court. But if it's somebody else's kids, it would be closed to the court. So that made me wonder when I saw that, is CPS involved? Some of you in comments last week or a couple weeks ago said that when situations like this happen, it usually triggers an automatic CPS investigation, which sometimes in situations like that to avoid, a family being disrupted or having CPS remove children, sometimes family members will opt to have their kids stay with a family, or a parent will say, well, I know we've got a lot going on, but so I'll have them stay with my sister or my brother or whatever. So that made me wonder if some of the kids are staying with relatives while this is all happening to keep them safe. I wish I had more answers. I wish I could tell you more about what's going on, but it sounds like these rumors circulating that she is at odds with the Duggars ring true if in fact she is spending almost every night with Josh. Because if you're not comfortable in your house and you're living on the property of your in-laws and you're feeling like you're at odds with your in-laws, where would you want to be? with your husband. If you believe that your in-laws are the cause of all of your husband's problems, and you believe that they're enabling and not getting him help is why he's in the situation he is, not because your husband made terrible decisions and did horrible things, but it's his parents' fault, where would you want to be? You would want to be with the person that literally is probably telling you that you should be mad at everyone but him. And that also means that little kids could theoretically be still spending the night every single night with their dad, which makes me feel so uncomfortable. I still don't understand why a judge ever signed off on this idea. I don't understand how a judge could ever have okayed that the kids could be around him at any time as long as Anna was present. Anna, to me, as much as I understand that she grew up in a cult and she has been brainwashed to believe certain things, at some point as a mother, your intuition has to step up and you have to be able to sort of take the initiative to do what's right for your children and not what's right for your husband. And instead, Anna, in my opinion, continues to put her foot forward of Josh, put her marriage before her kids. And I feel bad. I feel bad two ways. One, if all of the kids are having to stay overnight with her when she stays there. And two, if they're not staying overnight, then other people are taking care of them. In a perfect world, Anna would find her own place to live, divorce Josh, and take her kids with her. But it's not a perfect world. It's Anna Duggar, and she's married to a psychopath, in my opinion, who will lie and do anything he can to make sure that she never leaves. All right, you guys, so what do you think about this? Are you surprised to hear that Anna is there almost all of the time? Tell me in the comments below. Bye, guys.